Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of Talking Figures. As always, I am Tony, coming at you with a very special guest. I've been watching this young man for a year plus now as he grows his YouTube channel. You can catch him over on his YouTube channel at PopBlender. There, every Tuesday and Sunday, he goes live every Tuesday with Matt Mattson when they bring you the evening blend, where they break down everything in the pop culture spectrum. And on Sundays, he goes Unfiltered, where he breaks down everything and anything all over the space here. Please welcome to the show. I'm very excited to have him here. I've been waiting to talk to him for quite some time, as our schedules have finally aligned perfectly that we could do this. He's a friend of mine, and I hope after this he'll be a friend of yours. Please welcome from the Pop Blender channel, the one and only Pop Blender. Welcome, buddy. It's good to see you.
What's up, man? Appreciate you having me. Very much
I
so. Been looking forward to this. We tried to do this a couple times, and
times, but yeah.
things get in the way. It's all good.
But before we went live, you said as soon as you came on that life is a pain in the ass, and boy, you weren't kidding. It's a real pain in the ass.
I do. I truly get it because it's been kicking me for a couple months.
But
Yeah.
this last 2 months, but like my father passed away.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man.
And it's just
Yeah.
been a shitstorm after one shitstorm after another. So
Yep.
I totally understand where you're coming from, but let's just get right into it. And I'm gonna ask the first question now.
Great. He's done great, man. It's awesome.
Glad to see him grow. I'm glad to see you grow as well. We'll get to that in a little bit. First, we're gonna start right out of the top. I'm gonna ask you the same question I ask everybody. And like I said, before we started this, we talked a little bit about your collection. So I'm excited to talk about it now. And I'm gonna start right at the top, which is, when did you start collecting? And what was the line that got you into collecting? And by collecting, I don't mean, when your parents or your guardians bought you a toy for Christmas.
Right.
I'm talking about when you started really taking it seriously, when you were like, no, these are more than just action figures.
20. What? Let's see. During, I guess, the pandemic.
Okay.
2020. When did Classified come out? Now this I'll expose myself, because those that might be watching are like, how does this guy not know? I remember it was very early in the line, so 2020, 21 maybe,
Right around there.
somewhere in there. And I've always taken a stroll down the toy aisle. Going back the last 25, 30 years of my life, even definitely as an adult, I always like going down the toy aisle at Target, Walmart, whatever. And I happened to be strolling down Target, and I went by the figure aisle, and I saw Flint, which is my all-time favorite G.I. Joe character.
Right on. Mine too.
And the Major Blood Cobra Island classifieds.
Okay.
They had them both. And I was like, man, these look freaking awesome. And it definitely took me back. Now, up to that point, I had not paid attention to a lot of toy stuff. My cousin always had through the years. He had kind of stopped for a while. I used to get like Toy Fair magazine, and I'd thumb through them, right? And I'd be like, man, those are some cool statues. Those are cool figures. But something struck a nerve in me with those classifieds. And it was just awesome. It was like, I grabbed them, remember taking them back home, took a picture of them, sent it to him, to my cousin. And I was like, dude, have you seen these? And he had not seen them yet.
Oh, wow.
So,
really?
No, he had not. And I was kind of surprised. So from that point, I started picking them up. And this was mainly like the Amazon. I didn't really know anything about Hasbro, the Pulse thing, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'd see a couple out. This is when you could find figures at a store. You remember those days?
That sounds like so long ago, right?
In the last 4 years. So I'd pick a few up, and then I started buying some on Amazon, and filling out the collection. And so that's what really started it. Like just Flint and Major Blood. And from there, I just kind of started. And then once my cousin started, it kicked into overdrive. Because then so we rekindled this thing from, 40 years ago. You know what I mean? Like that we're calling each other, texting each other, sharing pictures.
Oh, wow.
Look who I found. Look who I got today.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, within a matter of a couple years, I started watching HC 788. Okay. First YouTuber that I started watching. And I sent it to my cousin, and I was like, you got to check this guy out. Like, he's funny. It's rough. It's, rough around the edges. But doing pretty fun stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
as far as reviews and stuff, and especially of the O lines, right? In particular.
Okay.
And then from there, I started to kind of connect with different people, like a Punk with Toys, right? You know, yourself, even I think early on with
Yeah.
YouTube. I remember seeing you and kind of participating in a couple live streams,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Mattson, right? You know, and then the list goes on, as you know. And so that just kind of sparked it in overdrive and to where it is today, which I am mainly an inbox collector.
Oh, wow.
That is, it's partial out of space as
Okay.
far as having, you know, space to really put them up, display them in a way like, I know people kind of, I know Punk gives me a hard time about that, but I also try to fit what I've got, some of what I've got back here on the,
Shelf,
you know,
yeah.
camera,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
for fun.
Yeah.
But I'm mainly an inbox collector. I don't take photos. I
No.
don't make videos. I don't do reviews, but I love the classified figures. I really do. Back to Snowcat. Got charged today. You know, guilty as charged. Um,
I don't think
and so yeah, I've done all the HasLabs.
that was a
What's
good
that?
HasLab. That was a good HasLab.
Hell,
Yeah,
you know
no reason
what?
to be embarrassed for that. Hell no.
Well, and you know what though? I did mention on my last couple live streams, including with my cousin, if I remember right, that I was considering maybe taking a step back,
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
picking and choosing.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, it's you know how it is, like we you've seen the speculation market where it's like,
Oh
man,
yeah.
if I don't get this, is it going to be 3 times as much next
That's
year?
everybody's saying, but yeah.
But then it doesn't happen,
Yeah.
and you go to a con and you find CoverGirl for $15 when
Oh,
all of a sudden, for some reason, last year CoverGirl was a hot commodity. She's like $60 on Amazon or, you know, eBay. It's like, what is happening here?
yeah.
But yeah, it mainly inbox.
There's nothing wrong with that. Now, it's mostly GI Joe. What else do you get besides GI Joe? Because you said before we went live, there's not just GI Joe. It's here and there, something that I guess piques your interest. Maybe nostalgia it kicks in. You see something from when you were a kid, like you said now, which we'll get back to in a second.
Yeah,
This relationship that was rekindled with your cousin through it. So now I'm assuming you really have an attachment to GI Joe because not only is it making you think about the old cartoons and the old toys, but it rekindled a relationship with a family member to where
yes,
now you guys are in contact constantly, daily almost,
yes,
talking about the toy.
yes.
So to me, I love hearing stories like that. I like when an action figure or a toy, whatever it is, does things like that where it brings people who haven't spoken for a while, just kind of like, oh, do you see this? This is pretty cool. Because that's how it kind of happened with me and a friend of mine recently. Same type of deal,
Right.
whereas he he wasn't into collecting toys, but he has sons, right? And his sons were starting to get into toys. And he came over one day and he just happened to I just had a couple classified figures out on the table because I was taking pictures. And he was like, what the hell are these? And I was like, oh, these are GI Joe. And he was a big GI Joe O-ring guy. He loved
Okay.
toys. So he goes, these are what they look like now. And I said, yeah, they're making them 6 inch now. So they're pretty cool, man. They come with a bunch of accessories and all this stuff. And then around that time, the Hiss had just dropped. So
Okay.
I told him, I was like, yeah, they just came out with the Hiss, the Cobra tank thing. And he goes, what? And I said, yeah. So he like, that night he leaves my house. So a week later he texts me and he goes, I just bought 2 Hiss tanks. Because I bought a lot of Joe's. He goes, what the fuck did you do to me? And I go,
That's
buddy.
how it happens. That's what happens. You're
I was
like, I didn't plan on spending $300, but I did.
so I was just like, it's crazy to see what just when it hits the nostalgia button. I noticed
Yeah.
that as soon as you press that button, the money goes right out the window. You're like, well, I need it. I remember it. Like I have to have it.
It is a powerful thing. Now, to go back to your first thing, okay?
Yeah.
I don't collect a lot of other lines. I have gotten quite smitten with the
Okay.
Blockies Transformers
Transformers. Yeah, yeah.
because I had a million freaking Transformers as a kid. I had it all. I was very fortunate from a divorced family that my mother and my dad's side, who their way of showing me how much they cared about me, and this just being honest,
Yeah.
is to take me to Toys R Us every other weekend when I
Okay.
visited. So
Yeah,
my
yeah.
grandmother, you know, my dad occasionally, but he worked all the time. He was a working dad, not a hands-on dad, working dad.
Yeah.
But So I had it all, man. I mean, I had He-Man, loved He-Man, Mask, Cops and Crooks, Chuck Norris. I reference Chuck Norris all the time because I used to take those figures on vacation to Florida or wherever I went, and I had that purple star guy, ninja guy. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
The Chuck Norris stuff. So I reference the Chuck Norris all the time because I really loved those figures back in the
Oh
day,
yeah.
and obviously GI Joe, and Transformers. My cousin and I mean, we had it all, dude. Like, I mean, we were so blessed to have all of these vehicles and all of these toys. And so I love all those lines. I'm just not interested in collecting them because I know that that's a rabbit hole I can't go down.
Ooh, it's rough.
Right.
Man. Yeah.
And so I got to limit it. And so the blockies, I picked up the Soundwave blocky that I saw at my local comic shop. Yes, I still collect comics and still go to comic shops.
Oh yeah.
And I got Megatron months ago when it came out. The
Okay.
Optimus Prime didn't care for. It's too rounded and it doesn't look like the OG kind of G1 in a way.
I know.
Um,
That's the one I have. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
and I like it. I like it. It didn't
Doesn't hit
trigger that
Yeah.
nostalgia in me. Okay,
Yeah.
like these two did.
Yeah.
So I got those. I bought a few other things. You see the little Link plushie
I see
figure
him
up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
We took that on vacation. My son and I took it around, took some photos. I bought an Attack on Titan figure, which you can't really see behind me, but so there's a few other lines, but yeah, mostly GI Joe. Now, as far as rekindling with my cousin, we've always been in touch because our family, his
Close?
mom, and yes,
Yeah. Okay.
and Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthday parties. You know, we're the quintessential. You get a cake, you get candles, people sing happy birthday to you, you open then everybody sits around as you open your presents, or in the last 25 years, gift cards
Yeah.
or cash. So we've always been in touch, right? Like we've gone when the prequel Star Wars movies, we were at midnight showings, 25 years ago. So all that kind of stuff. So we've always been in touch. What it rekindled was this childlike fascination with those toys again that I know I didn't have for many years that he did have through different periods of time.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've always really been in touch, but I can definitely tell you in the last few years, we talk at least 2 to 3 times a week, texting pretty much almost every day. I mean, you have your life.
Absolutely.
And then through live streaming every other week, and then he shows up in my streams and vice versa and other streams, right?
Yeah.
And so we're constantly in contact. So it rekindled that kind of relationship, right? Where we're constantly like, did you see who's coming out? Are you excited? Like that kind of thing.
I remember him telling a story, and it might have been on your Sevens Wild podcast, where you guys would go down to a creek with all your figures and set
He
them up.
lived, yes. He lived on it's a very popular place in Nashville now, or outside of Nashville. It used to be basically country, but
Okay.
it was about 15 minutes from where I lived, and he felt like you were in a different place.
That's crazy.
And so his family owned a lot of property. His dad had a hauling and grading business, so they had like he had a shop and a barn with dump trucks and bulldozers and tractor. I mean, all the, you had Tonka toys as a kid. This is real life Tonka, dude. We used to ride in the back of the dump trucks on job sites from one place to the next with a mound of dirt in the back, just throwing dirt clods at the wall. And we take our figures to job sites and we play with them on these big dirt mounds while his dad was excavating, digging up earth, shit like that. And, but where he lived is a main creek that runs a very long route from that county into Davidson County. And so anyway, so we used to take, the whale, the hydrofoil, although it's a bad experiment. But we would take our Joes down to the creek because the creek was like 30 yards behind his house.
Oh, that's sick.
And it had a bridge that went over it because the driveway went back to the shop and the barn, and there was woods and, weeds and trees. I mean, it was the perfect for somebody who grew up in a neighborhood with a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
To be able, like, all the time, and I mean all the time, go out there and run around and play in the creek, get leeches on you and ticks and, you know, I mean, it was awesome, dude. And we had so much fun trying not to lose G.I. Joe figures out there in
I
that
bet, man.
creek.
I bet.
It was
That's
amazing.
that's an awesome memory, though. Like I said, that's right there. Kind of shows you what happened when you started collecting those classified figures. It's probably those fun
Yes.
times that bing triggers, and
Yep.
you can't wait to talk about it more. Is there any figure in your collection right now? This is the next question, by the way.
Okay.
Kind of seamlessly moving along, aren't we?
Yeah, I know, right?
So, is there a figure in your collection that you have that you would consider like a grail piece at this point? I know there's always new ones coming out,
Mm.
but is there an old figure that you have that you've had for a very long time, or is there anything that you got from Classified now that you would consider like, yo, if anything happens to this particular figure, I'm going to be heartbroken?
Um, it yeah, I guess so. Not that it's hard to get, but for some reason I have an affinity for Arctic Storm Shadow,
Okay,
and you can't see it, but it is above Link and Serpentor
okay,
and Zartan and Mindbender. I don't know. Anyway, Cobra Commander. Anyway, so it's up there, um, but the Arctic Storm Shadow, for some reason, that figure really flips my switches, and I really don't know why. It shouldn't,
yeah,
but I have it out, and unfortunately, it's well, it's not in camera view. Who cares, right? Like, who gives a shit?
yeah.
But maybe that one, and I know that's probably a weird answer. I will say that first Major Blood.
That was a really good
Holy
figure.
Jesus, man! That the face sculpt on that figure,
Yeah,
like, and I wasn't a big Blood fan, back in the day. I liked him fine, and I love the cartoon.
yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah.
goofy there, and the comic, he's a badass. But yeah, like, I don't know, maybe that Major Blood, even though Flynn is kind of my main guy. Now, I don't have any of my O-rings.
Original.
I
Okay,
made a grave mistake when I was about 17. I was playing music already. I played drums my whole life almost. And I was
okay,
playing in bands when I was a senior in high school. So I was playing in bars and shit when I was in high school.
okay. Right
And
on.
with 40-year-old guys, 45-year-old guys. And
Yeah,
that was pretty good. And so at that point, I thought I was going to be a rock and roll star.
yeah.
And so I took all, and I mean all, except my Darth Vader case, the OG Darth Vader case, with the rest of my Star Wars figures that I had, and my Falcon and Snowspeeder and some other crap that are missing many parts. And I put them in a couple boxes and sold it all in a yard sale that my aunt had.
Oh my God.
And some guy came along and probably bought it all for like 35 bucks. And I'm talking every G.I. Joe figure from 82. And I'm talking every figure. I had every figure from 82 to about midway or sometime through 89 Iron Grenadier, area.
Wow.
Vehicles and all. Like,
That guy hit a
dude,
jackpot. You want to talk about a jackpot?
Transformers, He-Man, Mask, Chuck Norris. Somebody got it all.
Well, yeah.
And so
Wow.
when I was handed that money, 17, you're like, here's $45. I'm like, hell yeah. I got gas money and smokes and little did I know all these years later that I would rue the day that I did that. Um,
Absolutely.
but so there's not really, I do have my OG Star Wars figures.
That's good at least.
Not all of them, and
Yeah.
they're not in the best shape.
Yeah.
As you played with your toy. Remember, you played with your toys back then, Legend. You remember that?
I still do.
Okay, see, and that's what I love and I appreciate about you and everyone else that I've gotten to know in the toy sphere, right? Like
Yeah.
through YouTube and whatever, is that even though I'm not there, okay, I appreciate people who are. Like
Hell
I
yeah.
love the fact that Mattson takes these photos and tries to recreate comic covers.
And they're
You know what I
awesome.
mean?
Yeah,
It's
they're
awesome. I love what you do. I love what you do with the wrestling stuff. I love the fact that you making the wrestling characters though. That's a whole nother dimension, right? Like that's awesome of your members and stuff. And so, but just playing with your toys, like people that customize, the talent that comes behind that. I envy that. I appreciate that. Um, I just I'm not. I don't know. I don't know why. I
yeah.
don't know why. I maybe it's just I'm an admirer from afar, and I
Yeah,
love the
there's nothing
look.
wrong with that.
And you know what, man? Maybe one day I'll do a 20-hour live stream and I'll open every single
Every
damn
single
one
one.
of these sons of bitches. Every single one.
Now let me ask you this, because you like you like me and you love Flint. Do you
Yes.
like the one they made originally, or this new retro one better?
So I am a bigger fan of the retro.
Me too.
However, I'm one of those rare birds that digs the ultimates.
I
Yep.
like those.
Sue me. You
Yeah,
know, and I like I catch some shit for it. It's all good. I understand it. As a non like figure collector who has my stuff out all the time, I
yeah,
understand those are not great figures. They're not durable, right? But I love them because the cartoon is where my heart and soul is, right? In
yeah.
GI Joe, I still turn on Hasbro and watch those episodes.
Me too. Me too.
It could be on my second screen. It could be on my first screen. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that was a period of time for me running home from the school bus to make sure that I wasn't 1 minute late to
yeah.
catch Transformers and GI Joe back to
Joe.
back.
Oh yeah.
Right. So the ultimate one is the one that I really love the most. But if I had to pick, the retro is got to be the one for me.
Retros. Yeah, I got that a couple of days ago, and when I took them out of package, I was just like, oh man, this is gonna be the Flint that I
Yeah.
use the photography all the time. I absolutely love that Flint. Are you excited? I'm gonna bring it back to the snowcat, but are you
Yeah.
excited that they have that Flint in the snow in the tiers and everything unlocked now?
Okay. I am, but I did say on stream,
Yeah,
I wish maybe they had done something a little different. I get where they're going with recreating the cartoon, and which of
yeah,
course I love.
yeah,
Um, but I thought if they did more of an all Arctic team, and I get why they did what they did, and
yeah.
I know they're going to be giving Arctic figures coming soon. That I don't know if you
Sure,
saw
yeah.
the Instagram video
Yeah, it's
from
coming. Yeah, right.
yesterday, whatever. They said yes, we can't comment, but we've got some people coming out. Um, Most of those Arctic figures I didn't have an attachment to because there's several that came after, like post my post my
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
with
you were
figures,
out of the game.
once I was in high school. And
Yeah,
so, um, but I kind of was hoping they'd maybe go more that route. I appreciate the bivouac. I'm cool with that.
yeah.
I just thought, hey, we've had enough versions of Flint. I love Lady J, a woman with that kind of voice, that raspy, you know, give it to me. It's like, but yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it didn't quite hit the mark for me. But
Okay.
ultimately, I'm gonna love it. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I am. I've loved everything they've done, give or take. Like Dark Lawn, I'm sorry, I can't. I just can't.
When
That
I
guy,
got him, I literally bought him for the sword.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
And I appreciate again people that do. We all like what we like, right?
yeah,
But yeah, there's something about him and maybe like I didn't get the Blue Ninjas and
okay,
and a couple of just because it's okay, whatever. Maybe one day I'll get them.
yeah.
But ultimately, yeah, I know when I get them in hand. I'm not stupid.
They're
Like I
not
know when I
bad.
get them
Yeah,
in
they're not
hand.
bad. I wanna get Slice and Dice. I definitely wanna get those 2
I
also.
pre-ordered. I
Yeah,
pre-ordered them. I have no
definitely wanna.
attachment to those figures. They
No, there's a
mean
are
nothing
you
to
are
me.
you like I mean, you must be like me now, because, like, there's a certain part of GI Joe that I remember very vividly, like Duke, Flint, Snake Eye. Like, I remember that core, heavy duty, Roadblock, all those guys. But, like,
Right.
when you start getting into, Darklon and all these,
The
now you're starting to like, I'm like, "Wait, who the hell are these people?" Like, I'm not understanding.
Once you get to 1990-ish,
Out there, right? Yeah.
I started high school in '89.
Okay.
So I was in marching band, I was in drumline. I mean, it was a very successful large high school band. So
Okay.
it started to take up my
All
time,
your time and
and
stuff.
then I started meeting girls. You know what I mean? Like, it's what happens to
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
And even if you collected that whole time, that's still life. It's like there's
Yeah.
other things start taking precedent, right? So or buying, playing with figures, whatever.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm like you. Once you start getting into that 89 to 90, yeah, I don't have any affinity towards any of
Yeah.
those figures. And
Are you hitting? Are you now hitting the end of the mark on terms of, or is there
okay,
certain things that are pulling you in still, or are you kind of going like, all right, now you're making these guys. I don't know how much more you got left in me.
that's it. That's interesting because that's a conversation that I've had with myself, and I call myself self.
Yeah.
Uh, no, I say self. What would you? When would you stop? No, yeah, it's I think there probably will come a time as they move through the line
Yeah.
that I'm just gonna hit a wall and just kind of be like, I don't have anything for this figure,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like, and no matter how good they make them look, and they do, I will give those guys they've done a bang up job
I agree.
with Raptor. I mean, look, I had a Raptor as a kid, but I was stupid as hell. You know what I mean? And then they go and they do what they do, and I'm like, this is pretty sweet, man.
But
Like,
yeah,
this
buddy.
is awesome.
Yeah, when I saw him, because I was the same way as you. Was like Raptor. I was like, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then I went saw him on the shelf at Target, and I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I was like, now you're seeing him in person. That kind of it changes the whole dynamic. Like for instance, um, everybody went nuts for Crystal Ball, right? Everybody,
Yes.
and I'm like, who the hell are these people? My wife finds him at Walmart up here, and she takes a picture and she goes, "He looks pretty badass." And I go, "Yeah, buy him."
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, because I pre-ordered him. And I had that figure too as a kid. That was one of those later ones that I had that
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know what they're doing now. This is getting really wacky here. And because look, I grew up in that Cold War 70s 80s era, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah,
I'm a big Rambo, and so
yeah.
you gravitated towards the camo, towards the real world part
The
of
military
GI
stuff.
Joe,
Yeah,
right? For at least
yeah,
for me anyway.
yeah, yeah.
And so once they started going there, I really started to go, okay, like I'm not, and then you see where it went to, right? Which a lot of people really fell off at that point, unless you were a young kid. I know people that's their GI Joe,
Yeah,
1993 GI Joe, right?
yeah,
But yeah, I'm with you. Like Crystal Ball, definitely. I mean, I pre-ordered him. I know I'm not one of these guys that's gonna cancel my order with Hasbro and rush out to Amazon to if they come up available or go to Walmart,
yeah. I
whatever,
don't do
and
that
just go
either.
ahead and buy it. I
Yeah,
get them when I get them.
I'm the
I
same way.
don't do reviews,
No,
so it
yeah,
doesn't matter to me if I'm
yeah,
first or last. Um, and a
same
guy,
exact.
look, I just went to Walmart today. I wish I had seen Crystal Ball there because I think I probably would have bought him.
Yeah,
But no, they've had the same big boa for almost a year. They've had the same retro carded Duke for about 8 months,
that's crazy.
and they had Xandar for some reason. It's weird. Like they got
That's
one
weird.
Xandar in stock. Like how does that even happen? How do
Yeah,
you not get a case? You get one. You get you hit one Xandar. So but anyway, so yeah, it's like they've done a great job with these figures I had no attachment to, and like
yeah,
you, when you see them, you go, oh, I gotta have that.
yeah. Because I like GI Joe started to lose me. Now, the way I worked was I loved everything. I loved superheroes, I loved Ninja Turtles, I loved He Man, I loved all that stuff as well. So when it started to get neon, when everything started to get very bright and loud colors at that early '90s, to
Oh,
me it became like I love science fiction. Don't get me wrong,
me
but
too.
I don't like militarized science fiction. So when GI Joe started to go that Cobra La with the Serpentors and this guy and that's when I'm like, there's too much like I don't want to say magic, but fantasy involved in this military cartoon that I used to watch when it was just GI Joe versus Cobra. They were a
Yes,
terrorist organization determined to rule the world, and this team GI Joe was there to stop them. That's
yes,
where I kind of like focused my attention on. Once it started to get, oh no, there's this magical guy that they grew in an egg or some shit, and now he's here with all these weird other characters that are all based off snakes, and then they turn Cobra Commander into an actual snake. That's when I'm like, what's going on here? And
was
I said,
it was it the movie that started that for you?
yeah,
Me
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Me
yeah.
too.
Because
Yeah.
once after that movie, I was like, if I want fantasy, I'll just watch He Man.
Yep.
I'll watch like all this stuff. And at the time, and even now, obviously, I'm a huge Conan the Barbarian fan.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so like if I'm gonna watch that kind of stuff like Snake Men and all this, I'm gonna read Conan books. I'm gonna, want to watch fantasy films.
Right.
I don't like fantasy and military mixing together. At least I'm a big crossover guy. I love crossover stuff, but it just can't. I can't suspend disbelief enough to like. They're a military group, and now they're fighting Cobra, like snake people. So it was just weird for me. Like I just could not, I couldn't suspend the disbelief enough. So I
Yeah.
just said, you know, if I'm going to watch mutants, I'm going to watch the Ninja Turtles, and that's
Okay.
kind of where my mind went.
And that's, I think that's where most GI Joe fans
The snake?
probably are at, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
some of them will say, "Well, it's not, it's not real. It's fancy." Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it. In the cartoons, they did some wacky stuff and
yeah,
turned some of them into children, right?
yeah,
They had the fun house. They do, but and I like sci-fi as well. I love sci-fi.
yeah.
But for me, just it started out as this, and then it evolved into something that I didn't like as much. And like you said, the neon and the once they started having like the big missile packs that shoot stuff and like shoot a missile off there, and they're these giant sized backpack, like it's not even. And I liked the more grounded,
Yeah,
more realistic, although it
yeah, I
doesn't
agree.
mean I couldn't have my fun. I like He-Man and everything,
Yeah, yeah.
and love the Conan. Love the Conan movies. Mad Max, all post-apocalyptic, whatever. Right? I love it all,
Oh, it
man.
works. Yeah, yeah,
Really,
yeah.
but and even the fantasy and sci-fi. But for GI Joe, and I think also too, it is part of growing up. Like your sensibilities start to change, your
Yeah,
imagination starts to change.
yeah,
It's,
yeah.
you're not as receptive to, you start building your personality, and you start building
Mhm.
your belief system, and you start
Yeah.
building kind of your, what you value. And for a lot of us, I think at that time, if you were starting high school around 89, 90, somewhere in there,
Yeah,
um, or after, it not only did you have other things going on, but also it just seemed goofy. It
yeah.
seemed goofy to me. Like the colors in particular, I was just like, yeah, I had. Did you have like neon clothes, like a tank top that was that neon green that
Oh
said
yeah,
Panama City or some shit?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Right? Like we all had that
Anybody?
stuff. I
Yeah.
had, what was it, Hobie? Who was there's surf companies that would, I had surf
All the time.
companies out of
Yeah,
California. I wore their clothing, and that was all
yeah.
like bright pink, and but I didn't like it with my
Toys.
figures, with my
Yeah, the
toys.
toys.
That I guess for me
Yeah, I
was
guess like
different.
because in the early '90s, for some reason, that was the style, just
Oh,
bright,
absolutely.
all everything. But like, I
Yes.
just when once it invades toys, that's when I'm like, no. Like,
Yeah.
I understand wearing a bright pink shirt in the summertime because
Yep.
it's bright, whatever. But like, why does this guy have pink gloves and green boots and stuff like that? Just doesn't,
Yeah. No, it's
you
none of it
know?
made sense. None of it
Yeah,
made sense to me, and especially from a military
yeah,
aspect, it
yeah,
really didn't make sense to me. Once you start getting version 4 or version 3, version 4, version 5, or whatever
yeah.
of certain figures, and they started looking like someone out of the Village People from the 80s, not the 70s, the 80s Village People. Then I had to call it quits. That's it. I had enough. I was no longer a macho man, macho man. That's
Yeah.
what.
Now listen, yeah, that also too. That's another thing. Like I started getting into wrestling by that point.
Okay.
So to me, like if I can only suspend my disbelief but so much. So I'm doing it for pro wrestling at that
Right.
point. Like GI Joe, if it wasn't like I said the original shit, it wasn't keeping my attention for very long. Now that brings me to my next question, which is like you said, you're an inbox collector, but I noticed the Rattler is open behind you.
Okay.
The open has labs. Is that the only exception?
Guilty. No. So that's one of those things, and now my hiss is, it is boxed up.
Okay. Okay.
It is boxed up, but I had taken it out. I put it together and everything, but I did
Okay.
put it back in the box. Yeah, I guess. I mean, something like that to me is like worth
Worth
opening.
holding.
Not that the figures aren't. They are worth opening. Obviously, they are. But yeah, it's like, okay, I gotta put this dragonfly together, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on, let's see how big it actually is. That's what she
Yeah.
said. And then the Rattler, uh, it to me, the Rattler is what a HasLab should be.
B. Now, when did you get the rat? Did you get it very
I
early?
got it early. I was one of the first
I'm
people to
still
get it.
I'm
As a
I'm
matter of,
still waiting.
are you
I'm
serious?
I'm still waiting. Yeah.
Okay, so and I know there's probably so many people that I've put on streams or watched or commented that probably were really pissed. Um, I was not one of those people that felt like I need to back it day one.
Me neither.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not in a rush. I'll get
Yeah.
to it when I get to it. The Snowcat was the same way. I didn't need to back 5 and cancel 4 just to get us there. I knew it was gonna get there. But uh, the Rattler more so than the Dragonfly, even the Hiss. And I didn't have the Rattler. My cousin had the Rattler. Okay, I had the Sky Striker, Conquest, Tomahawk, Fang, stuff like that. But he had the Rattler. But that plane, that A10, oh God, it's
Sick.
so fucking bad. And I had to open it. I had to get it out, and it truly is to me. And patches, whatever, right? It's fine. I ragged on it too. It's dumb, but
Yeah.
okay. Um, but man, Superman's taking a ride on that son of a bitch right now. But but uh but I mean, like,
The lights and everything. It,
you
it makes
know,
it worth it on it.
come
That's
on, man. Battle
yeah.
damage. I mean,
Sick.
it's the wing, the VTOL. You can flip the wings up if you need some space, right? So you can't see it, but I have an electronic drum set just behind the Rattler.
Oh, right on.
And
Okay.
I have to flip one of the wings up because I have to get it out of the way of one of the toms. Otherwise, it'd be right. And I don't want to beat on it, right? I don't want to hit the Rattler. Okay. So, but yeah. So I guess, yeah, the HasLab. I don't know what I'm gonna do when the Snowcat comes.
Snowcat comes. Yeah.
I mean,
Now
that
I didn't.
thing is huge too.
Yeah, I unfortunately didn't back it. I was in the same exact boat as you, where I
Okay.
was like, you know what? Let's back it down. Let's take a year off. Is basically what I said to myself because it's like, you know what? It's a great vehicle. I will not knock it at all. So if
Right.
anybody backed it, I would have if I had space. My thing wasn't finances; it was space.
Yeah, man.
So I was just like, take a year off. It's a snow vehicle. I know you can do many different things with it, but it's really built for like a snow scene
Yeah,
and
for
whatnot.
sure.
So I was just like, now I say this, and I'm sure he's gonna watch this, and he's gonna laugh his ass off when I say, it. But I hang out with Woody
Oh yeah.
often, so it's like Woody has one. I can just say, yo, could you bring it by for the afternoon? If I just take a couple shots with it, and then to me, it was just like, and my friend Tom, who backs everything now, so I just know that like it's there if you need it. But
I
I
I appreciate that.
yeah. So, but I wanted it. I did want to back it, but it was just take the year off. You don't need another vehicle. I'm already, you know what it is too, dude. I got into customizing vehicles too.
Okay.
So now I'm going to like thrift stores, buying some cars,
Right, right.
modifying them to fit Joe's Marvel Legends and what have you.
Yeah.
So space is becoming very, very limited,
It
and
becomes an issue. It
big
has
time.
to at some time with this
Yeah,
scale.
yeah, big time. It does.
Unless you live in a gigantic freaking house, or unless
Yeah,
you if someone does, fantastic. If you've got a big room, you've got like a man cave, you've got where
yeah,
you really can spread this stuff out or
yeah,
condense it all into a wall or two, and you've got cases and all that stuff. Yeah, hell yeah. I don't quite have that kind of room myself,
well, me
and
neither. Yeah,
so and so yeah, I fully understand
yeah.
why you decided. And here's the reality, man. If you want it, you'll
You'll get
find a way to get
it.
one.
Yeah,
Like that's what I'm in. That's what I was talking about. Like I think prior we were talking earlier about speculation, right? About FOMO, about
yeah, yeah.
oh gosh, they didn't produce as many. It's gonna be 3 times as much, man. I saw his tanks at Joe Fest, right? Like I've seen dragonflies at Joe Fest. You know, it, yeah, you're gonna pay more, but that's just the
Yeah.
way it goes. But if you really want one,
You
you'll
make it work.
find a way,
Yeah, you'll
right?
make it work. Yeah.
So if you can have Woody bring one over and you can mess around with it, check it out, maybe do some photos if that, if that's your
Yeah.
thing, if that then great. But I appreciate that. I was this close to canceling before
Oh wow.
it ended, and I'll be honest with you, bro. Don't tell anybody. It's a secret between us. I fell asleep. I fell asleep. And falling asleep. cancel it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Shit. Oh, shit. Can you believe it? I might have canceled it, but I fell asleep. And when I woke up, there's a text sitting from my cousin. It's fun, dude. It's fun, you know. And I woke up. About an hour past time it ended. I woke up at like midnight central, and I was like, oh well. And look, I know I could cancel it. Don't you have like 45 days or something?
Oh,
like
yeah,
that?
I think so. Yeah.
Whatever. I'm not going to. I'm not
No.
gonna trick myself. I was always gonna get it.
Yeah.
Always gonna get it. But I was close. I was real close.
You know what's funny is like not too long ago before all this, like you know, it's funny with these HasLabs. Everybody gets on the fence because they think, is it going to fund? Is it going to fund? But at the end, it always winds up just going right. You get
Oh
all
my
the
God.
It's like, stop worrying. It's going to fund. You're going to be fine. You're going to get it. It's fine.
And then I saw the whole thing where like there's this deal where, you know, Emily at Hasbro evidently, you know, every Monday is supposed to manually enter in the numbers from overseas of the backers, but she hadn't done it at all.
Wow.
Like not one time through the whole campaign. At least that's my understanding after watching the video and on Instagram. And so think about it. I don't know how many of those numbers are.
Yeah.
But you got to imagine if all of a sudden you add 3,000 people or 2,000 or how many people are into it around the world, then yeah, all of a sudden you look up and it's like, oh crap, we passed 2 tiers in like an hour and a half or whatever, right? You know what I mean? Whatever it was very fast.
Real quick, yeah.
So yeah, I found that pretty funny. But you're right. It's the G.I. Joe Classified. Hasbro has to be so. I don't know. They probably don't give a shit. They have to be over the moon, I would imagine, at the fact that this market has been so voracious.
For real.
In collecting these things, in buying army builds, in these things are $25 a pop, man.
They're going up every day.
And more.
Yeah, they're going up every day.
My Cobra little what is it, little shitter set they call it, right? The figure in the little box is on the way. All right, and then I got charged the other day.
How much is that? $80, right?
It was $60. It was $60 and like 86 cents, something weird like that. And I'll be charged for Snake Eyes Polar Bear here in the next day or two. But my point is like, yeah, look, they're $25 a figure, and I pretty much have most all of them. I'm not a completionist. I'm not one of those people. Or I say one of those people. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I don't have that desire. But yeah, I've sunk a few $1,000s into this line. Buddy, and I got to tell you, that's a few $1,000s that could go to a lot of other things, right? Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the truth of the matter. So Hasbro has to be over the moon.
2 days ago, between the last 2 days, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, my wife, she works now about an hour away from us.
Okay.
So now we don't really go to this particular Target and Walmart ever because it's an hour away, right? So she gets a lot of downtime at her job. They said, basically, go shopping to kill time. And she's like, do you want me to go check? I said, yeah, just see if go to Target, see if what's there. Because usually the ones by us, when I tell you nothing, it is just dead.
Same here.
So she goes there, and I said, let's just see if Breaker is there, because that's the G.I. Joe that everybody's talking about at Target. And I just expected her to walk in and go, nope. She goes, there's 3 Breakers and 3 firemen.
Unbelievable.
I go, what? She goes, yeah, it's 3 firemen and 3 Breakers. So I turn around. Now, again, being a photographer, I don't army build. I don't want to ever say that I army build. If I'm going to buy like an army, I go 4 to 5. 5 to me is pushing it, because now you're starting to buy. Now it's going to become a money pit. You can buy 100 of these figures, and you spent all that money. You only really, when you're taking pictures and you're going to and it's a focal point,
right?
You only really need a few. You don't need like 100 for the picture itself, unless you're taking an extreme wide, right?
Right.
So I said to her, I was like, just grab me 2 firemen, because I made a deal with 3 stars, matter of fact, to get a Breaker. So I'm just waiting until my money usually all comes at the end of the month. So I said, just wait.
Yeah, okay.
So I said, just wait to the end of the month. So I told my wife, I said, don't leave Breaker. I was like, I'm going to get it from 3-star. I made the deal with 3-star already, so I'm not going to, resend. I said, but now, just for shits and gigs, go to Walmart, and let's see if this display that everybody keeps showing off, everybody keeps this, if it's not
Mattson sent me a picture yesterday of Law and Order and everybody
wow,
else, and he's like,
you
I've
got
got him in
it.
hand. So go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
I'm thinking there's no way she's gonna find a fucking thing. So she goes there. She goes, I'm not seeing anything, and then she goes, hold on a sec. She goes, this aisle just came out of nowhere, and she like literally ran into it. And she walked around, and sure as shit, there was 2 crystal balls and 3 quick kick beachhead knife forces. And she goes,
Ha!
"What do you want?" I go, "I want. Give me." I was like, "How many crystal balls are there?" She goes, 2. I go, "Grab those 2 motherfuckers right now." She's like, "Okay." I was like, "And grab me a quick kick and a beachhead." And I said to her, in a blink of an eye, I just dropped almost $130. Not even,
Yes.
I didn't even think. I was
Yes.
like, trust me, when people say I've spent close to it's $10,000, like, I believe it because it
Yes.
happened so fucking quickly. Before you know it, I'm like, where the fuck? I have a stack of figures here now that
Yes.
weren't here a day ago, but because she got lucky, I was like, oh shit, grab them things quick. So it's crazy how like the like sometimes people say, oh, like hunting is dead, toy hunting is dead, but you still get uh, um that endorphin hit
Yes.
when you find something, even if it's like I can't believe it was there. Like, because when she sent me a picture of crystal ball, that like I said, that endorphin rush hit again. I'm like, oh shit, she found them. So like it was just immediately like so. I just sometimes like I noticed recently, at least for myself, because I'm a big Marvel Legends guy. I love comic
Okay.
books, and that's how I started. My collection started with Marvel Legends. And then I started collecting GI Joe because I felt like they needed a military or like mercenaries to fight. I needed
Okay.
more bad guys and shit like that. And this, it's the same. It's crazy how it worked because it's the same exact figure for you that did it for me. Major Blood. When he came in the mail and I got a good look at him, I was like, "Yo, these figures they're not mercenaries. These are like main villains. Like these are
Yeah.
too good to just get beat up by Batman." So I just started immediately went down the GI Joe road, and now I would have to say, with full certainty, that GI Joe is like one of my main lines. It's over Marvel Legends. I'd rather look
Wow.
because I like the way they're built. I like the way they look. I mean, I know the gumminess of the guns annoy people. They annoy me too.
They've
But I
gotten
like
better. They've gotten
they
better
got
with it.
better. And I like that. But I like the accessories.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for accessories.
Okay.
Like I don't, dude. I bought the snake eyes for the polar bear and the little mask device.
That's
That's
amazing.
literally all I wanted because like I'm accessories. I'm thinking in my head like, oh, that polar bear, he could fight Conan, he could fight He-Man, he could fight this guy, and I just was like, I don't give a fuck about Snake Eyes. I don't give a shit. And I immediately just bought the Snake Eyes because of the fucking bear and the little mask devices. And same thing with the divers. Like I had
Okay.
Woody send me a link to the Canadian store that everybody uses
Right.
because I was like, I need those divers because they come with those mask devices because I want to have all of the mask device together.
Yes.
Any accessory will hook me hook, line, and sinker with good accessories with a figure.
I
I,
love that. I think that's
yeah,
awesome. You
I
know,
just want my money's worth. If you're gonna up charges, then give me my money's worth. I want extra hands. I want an extra head. I want
yeah.
something. I don't care if it's a diorama piece. I don't care if it's just a couple accessories like the mass device pieces. Whatever it is to entice me to spend this kind of money on this stuff. Like for instance, I don't know who Crystal Ball is. I'm being quite honest with you, but when I saw him, I mean, it's like, oh, he could fight Doctor Strange. He
Oh,
could fight tons
absolutely.
of Force guys, and immediately was like, well, I might not need him for GI Joe Classified, but I could use him for a bunch of other lines. And immediately was like, and I like the extra green head, the shield, all the stuff he came
Yeah.
with. No brainer. Immediately purchased him. So to me, it's just as long as the price tag matches what you're purchasing, I will
Yes.
never complain about the price tag as long as it matches. When it doesn't match anymore, like for instance, I just heard recently that McFarlane is charging damn near $40 for his action figure, and it is exactly the fucking same as it was when you were buying it for $19.
Okay. I told you earlier I went to Walmart today.
Yeah.
And yes, that definitely is true. Pretty much looks the same that I could tell. I will say this. I did see a Captain Cold that was pretty badass. Like, and
I
that's not a guy, I loved Justice League back as a kid, right? Super Friends.
Yeah, yeah.
But and this isn't that version. They did have that version though. It's a smaller figure, and wanted like $20 for them.
Yeah, that's crazy,
I
man.
don't know if that was worth it, but Captain Cold was pretty badass, and it was $24.95. But beside it, they did have some that are like $40, and it
36.
looked like the same McFarlane that I've
It
seen for
is.
years.
Yeah, it is
Like
because
it literally with a little bit different package.
yeah, one of the guys in the community toy games was showing off like the Deathstroke that they were trying to sell. He's
Okay.
$37 with taxes and everything comes out to 40 whatever.
Right, right.
And it's he no changes, no updates, nothing new. It's the same. It's the same figure. So like,
Right.
where is the justification for such a price hike? I like listen, when everybody shit on the Maximum line, at least they gave you some more articulation. They gave you a bunch of
Yes.
hands. They gave you a head.
Yes.
They were trying to justify the price increase. Like the Hulk, I could not justify. The Hulk was a couple of hands, a couple of heads, and a rubber chest. I
I
have
saw it.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
with
need
you.
any more. I know everybody wants this, but unless
Yeah.
unless you're a photographer, unless you need him to do this,
Yes.
who cares?
Yes.
One of those things where it's like I can't. That doesn't make no sense. You shouldn't have made a Maximum Hulk. You should have made something else. Give us something else, and that they can justify paying these prices.
So the Spider-Man,
Yeah,
right? Like everybody went gaga over the Spider-Man.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and I like it. It can do all the classic comic poses, right?
Poses,
With the
yeah,
legs going ape shit crazy, right?
yeah. Yeah.
But that's it's starting to get a little high for me.
Now you, yeah. Now it's
When
getting
you
uncharted waters for me.
it
$55.
just yeah, like and I know people would say, well, you're gonna pay, $60 after tax for the Cobra, and the little box, and then you're gonna pay $60 for the polar bear and snake. Yeah, but like that's something I have a real affinity to,
Oh yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it and I don't know, is it the same? Like if you collect multiple lines, do you have the same affinity for every line, or is it just that you
No,
just really love figures and you know what I mean? Like I
no.
get that. I understand. Like I almost bought that Captain Cold. I don't have any affinity to that figure, but it looked awesome. The
Oh yeah.
texturing on it and everything, like it's a badass figure. But I can't imagine everybody has the same affinity for every different line they collect if they
Oh,
collect
yeah.
multiple things, but you are attracted to specific figures.
Yeah.
And I could see where maybe that Spider-Man really flips the switches, or maybe the Hulk. But yeah, once you start getting to a certain price point, you start looking at like, what am I getting for
Yeah.
this? I'm with you. Like it's kind of gotta balance out
Gotta balance
with
out.
price
So people
point
say,
and everything it comes with.
for instance, a perfect example is somebody says to you, "Why are you going to spend money on that snake eyes?" Yes, because he comes with a fucking polar bear.
Yeah, you're not gonna get that anywhere. You're not gonna get
You're
it.
not just getting snake eyes for
Right.
$60. You're getting snake eyes, a polar bear, mass devices.
Mass
He comes
device.
with a bunch of hands. Like
Yep.
so, they're justifying that price mark for
Yes.
him. I understand it. I'm not going to say just same thing with the. He comes with a little play set. So,
Yep.
like, you may not think that it still counts, and if you get multiple ones, you can connect those play sets. So I understand the price increase. And when they come with vehicles, yeah, it's a fucking vehicle. You're gonna
Yeah.
put him on an accessory. It's like it justifies the price increase. I understand it, but like when you tell me that no, we're just moving it up, like
Yeah.
nothing's changing, it's just moving up. That's when I'm like, nah, man, fuck you, fuck off.
And
I,
and
I
you
can't get into
you you wonder with like McFarlane too, because right, like didn't he lose the license?
He
So
did,
he's
yeah,
only got so much time, right, to make them. Is that you almost wonder? It's like, you know what, we're gonna go out with a bang. We're gonna premium these sons of bitches. We're gonna get as much money as we can, like he needs it,
yeah,
and just see what we can unload,
yeah.
right, before it ends up probably being marked down, or secondary market, somebody takes a loss. I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know. It almost seems to me like that's it. It's like we're gonna premium these sons of bitches, and God knows. I mean, look, I like the Marvel Legends. Like I love those comics. I read those comics growing up, right? A huge Marvel fan, and even DC. Love Batman. Um, so I just every time I went to Target, it was like there always seemed to be like a million of them, and there was always like a umpteenth version of this
Mhm.
character, and then a
Oh yeah,
multiverse character, and then like a different. And I get that, like if you love that, it's just that at the price point, and then the fact of they didn't really come with a lot,
No, they don't. Yeah,
right? Like they come with maybe some effects, and a
hands,
couple hands or
a set of hands.
right, and that was about it. And it's just every time I saw one that I might like a character, an X-Men character, I might like or something like that.
Yeah,
I just was like, yeah, the value proposition is not quite there for me.
yeah, I
And
agree.
I ultimately, like I said earlier, it's like I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. If I see
Yeah.
something I really dig, I'll pick it up.
Well,
You know,
now that you say that, what would be that thing? What would be the thing that you would really dig? Where you'd be like, oh shit, you got me
man,
now.
shit, man.
Anything from the Marvel or DC side?
Um, I don't know if Marvel or DC would really do it for me at this point. I was a huge Punisher fan as a kid. Limited series 1 through 5 when it came out,
Yeah.
original first run, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
then the unlimited series when it came out, the first like 15 or 20 issues.
Yeah.
Um, so there have been some super cool Punisher stuff. I also was a big Sergeant Rock kid. A bunch of Sergeant Rock comics. I
Yeah.
love Sergeant Rock. Love reading those comics. Um, I've seen some of those figures. I know they had this thing about giving him a gun, right? So because of the
Yeah.
shovel and all shit, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say this: some of those, well, the Takara Transformers,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
right? Am I
Yeah.
saying it right? Probably not.
Probably
Somebody,
not.
yeah, Takara Tomy or whatever. It's a Japanese
Yeah. The real
creator. Whatever. Fuck.
whatever.
Anyway. Some of those that I've seen, like those are some pretty sweet. Uh, I guess figures. I don't know. Seem like more like statues probably, but they
Yeah.
are movable stuff. Maybe something like that. But
So then
man,
now,
I
in
don't know.
terms of the like for instance, like He-Man Origins, that didn't do it for you. You didn't decide at least grab He-Man
You
or
know what? It didn't. Although I do have that DVD of the one they did back in like 2010, maybe or something like that.
okay. Okay.
Remember they had a new one that came out.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
2010,
Two.
maybe something like that.
2002.
2002. Okay, so I'm way behind. But
Yeah.
I have that. But it didn't. No, it didn't really do it for me. And I watched it, and I wasn't really a fan of
Okay.
that series. I didn't really care for that Kevin Smith
Oh, the new
thing.
one that just came out. You're
Yeah,
talking about the new one that just got because
y-
I'm referring to that. My favorite version of He-Man. Now, of course, I love the '80s cartoon and whatnot, but when
right.
they in 2002, the Four Horsemen, that brand that makes movies,
Yep.
they made that cartoon and they gave everybody like backstories, and that's when you like realize that Skeletor is Keldor.
Okay. Yes.
So
Yes.
that cartoon to
Yes.
me was amazing.
That cartoon. Yes.
The Kevin Smith one, I have, of course, I take issue with, but like I feel like the second one he did, like kind of redeemed the first bullshit.
Okay. Okay. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, yeah. So like,
Hadn't watched it.
because after I watched the first one, man, I was so upset. I was so angry with
It's
that
He Man with
whole
no He Man. Like,
that.
what
Yeah,
is happening? Like
that's I was
this.
very mad. I was
It's
very
not why I
mad.
came to watch this show. It's like, yeah, I came to watch it for one particular reason, and he's not there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, no, I do like I do like those figures, and I actually looked at them today even because they had several at Walmart. That's something
Yeah,
they always have. No GI Joe, but they always have those.
that's
And
that's what
even at Target, and
that's
they
what
look
started.
great.
Yeah, that's what started blowing my mind though.
They
Because
look great. They
like
do.
you said, it's 2020 or 2021. You start to collect GI Joes, and you're like, oh shit, this is cool. And then out of nowhere, I find out that Kevin Smith is making this cartoon, and then
Right.
all of a sudden now we have Masterverse, which is the 7-inch line, and they're really detailed figures, especially if you get
Yes.
like the new Eternia ones. And again, I will always I will always pick fantasy and swords and sorcery over science fiction. So
Okay.
like if it came down to it and you had two movies sitting in front of me, whether it's Star Wars or even like Lord of the Rings or Conan, I will always go Lord of the Rings and Conan. Always. I will always pick it over like the science fiction stuff. I like science fiction shit,
Yeah.
but I prefer fantasy, barbarians and all that stuff. So He-Man, that was my shit. So like when the Masterverse figures started coming out and they started giving you New Eternia at least, and then they gave you that 40th anniversary
Oh,
He-Man figure.
they look
They
fantastic.
were fantastic.
I'm with you.
One of my favorite lines. Like I said, it started out as Marvel Legends, and now to me, it's He-Man and GI Joe. Like I really love those figures and what's coming from them. And now that they got the Thundercats in the Origins.
Yeah.
My fingers are crossed that they will give us Masterverse versions of the Thundercats, because I mean, it's a no-brainer that people would go nuts for that line if they
Oh,
just
yeah,
pulled the trigger.
absolutely.
I
Uh,
really, because everybody doesn't like and I'm not a fan because I bought Lion-O, the Super 7,
okay.
and I just was very disappointed with what I received.
Isn't
Very,
that the story of Super 7 though?
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
pretty much.
truly, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I mean, that they had no presence at Joe
Oh,
Fest,
none.
no
Yeah.
presence. They had presence the year before, but really no presence at Joe Fest, and no presence at SDCC, from what I understand,
Oh wow.
or barely,
Yeah.
and other cons that I've heard about. Yeah, that's kind of. So I had Thundercats growing up too. 'Cause, I mean, that
Okay.
was right in my wheelhouse at that time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that actually might be, yeah, it's possible. I don't know. That might be something that would flip my switches.
Switch, right? For real, dude. Now
Yeah.
another question for you.
Yeah, man.
The journey to YouTube essentially.
Okay.
Now, it's been fairly new for you, right? You've been a couple
Yeah.
year and a half now at it.
Yeah, since
Um,
probably April or so of last year,
yeah, last year, right? So,
something like that.
what led to the genesis of the PopBlender channel? What led to the start of the Evening Blend with Matt Mattson, and of course, uh, the decision to then get a little bit more raw on people and go unfiltered. What
Okay.
were all these? What was the genesis of the channel and deciding to do these two particular podcasts?
So the genesis of it is that there are certain YouTubers that I have followed for probably since like 2017.
Okay.
Okay. And they're pretty big channels at this point now. They weren't at that time, but some of them are the Critical Drinker, which is a
Okay.
Scottish guy who has a massive YouTube channel now where he plays the part of a drunk Scotsman who reviews movies and television. And he generally talks shit. Okay.
Yeah.
But he's funny as hell. Nerdrotic is another channel that I
Yeah. I watched
started
that.
watching years ago, and I love Gary. Mattson used to mod for Gary for Nerdrotic
Oh
a few
wow.
years
Okay.
ago. He would mod. He's one of his mods. And he's met him, gone to meetups and stuff like that.
Cool.
And a few others. There's a few others in there, but those were a couple of the big ones. And they were really in the middle of the pop culture war, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And the culture war of, just watching movies and television start to not become good storytelling vehicles and
Yeah.
instead injecting political ideology. And I don't know how. I'll say this: I don't really care what anybody believes or thinks or who they follow, who they voted for. It doesn't matter to me. But I don't know how anybody couldn't see, including that first He-Man
Mm,
cartoon that we just talked about, how that people couldn't see that something was off kilter about our entertainment.
yeah.
And so politics started to really invade entertainment.
Sure
And
did.
entertainment became not so fun anymore. The
Nope.
Marvel movies, the Marvel TV shows, even the Star Wars projects that were coming out from Disney, And so after years of watching this stuff, I just decided to start a channel and start talking about that rather than figures. Which I am not a expert on, but I love watching the toy channels and I love keeping up with the Joe stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But really for me, it was I just wanted to put my voice out there. And Matthew, through a punk with toys and joining a punk's pit here and there, and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
then we found that we had common interests in that. So that's how the genesis of the Evening Blend started. Not
Huh?
how you come up with the name of a show, I don't know. The we changed it. Originally it had a different name. I changed it to the Evening Blend because he likes drinking like whiskey or uh, Irish whiskey or Scotch, whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought, hey, you know what? It's in the evening. It's about 9 o'clock Central. Pour a glass of whiskey, favorite blended, whatever,
Oh yeah.
and come sit for a while. And we're going to talk about movies and review stuff and talk about the current box office, and
Yeah.
a couple hours in and out, easy enough. And so we've been doing that for, I don't know, gosh, 50 something episodes or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that,
almost a
60.
year now you guys have been at it.
Yeah.
Very good.
And
Yeah,
then
one of the things that drew me to your channel was that the fact that you weren't talking toys, or that
okay,
you were just doing the pop culture stuff. Because
right,
like, and I listen, I watch, like you said, you watch what you watch on YouTube. You know the channels you're gonna follow and
yeah,
watch. So I already had that, already in my head of who I'm already watching as it is. So to me, I was glad to not see just another toy channel. Now I mean that with all due respect to everybody who does toy channels. I do a toy channel myself, but to
right.
just see now somebody saying no, 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 toys will be in it. Sometimes we'll talk about toys, but it's about pop culture. It's about movies, music, what's going on in said culture, and we're going to talk about it. It's going to be, it might offend some people. It might, you might agree with it, but at the end of the day, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna have those discussions, and
Right.
it was a fresh change. So to me, I was like, you got my attention. I like to see this. So like I said, and I'm not blowing smoke, brother. It's just you and Matt got a good chemistry, and it's a great show. So I enjoy watching it. So to see that you guys have now put in 60 weeks or 50 plus weeks, I think there's true growth because you guys aren't just talking about toys. It's different. So if you want to hear about pop culture, it's a good place to go to.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally we will talk about, in current GI Joe maybe, or he at the beginning of every episode he always holds up whatever figures. It could be Conan. He's a
Yeah,
big
I
Conan
did
fan. You
that
know that.
the
So
Yeah,
like he'll hold up Conan or something else, and so
yeah,
he's really big into just at the beginning he's holding up something, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so that's fun. I let him do that. Sometimes we'll talk about toys for a few minutes, but
yeah,
it's mostly movies and TV and some comics or whatever. But yeah, it's a good rapport. I got a great rapport with him.
oh
You kind of wind him up and let
yeah,
him go. So I'm just basically, tossing. I'm like just tossing stuff to him, and
point guard.
and he just and I love that because he's
Yeah,
clear, he's concise, like he's opinionated. And
yeah,
some people don't like that, and that's okay because it's just part of it, right? But
yeah.
yeah, I love
That's what,
throwing to
you
him
know
and
what?
just letting him go, man. It rips.
Opinionated people who, especially, they have a difference of opinion from you. That's what creates good discussion.
Oh,
Disagreements
absolutely.
the best discussion. So sometimes you got to have somebody who's going to disagree with you, and even if it's an extreme side of things, at least you could see things from a different perspective. I know when I talk to somebody who doesn't fully agree with me or whatever it is, even like I've had these conversations a lot with wrestlers, because we don't
Okay.
really see eye, especially with this day and age wrestling. Whereas I believe that it should be slowed down. These motherfuckers think it should be speed up by 10. So
Right.
we're always disagreeing. But out of that disagreement, I learned that it's the style of today. You have to accept things. You have to evolve with things. You can't just be get off my lawn guy. You have to have an open dialogue. And if I stay this closed minded and I don't care, like your opinion, I don't want to listen to it, then I'll never understand it.
At,
I
at,
have to hear it.
at the very least,
Yeah,
it's regardless, even if you come away not being convinced,
yeah,
at
yeah,
least you're open to the idea that like not everybody feels the same way about everything.
exactly.
And it
Yeah,
might be an opinion that you really don't agree with, and it could get you fired up, right? And that's okay because that's what it means to be human, right?
yeah,
Like you care about something that much. Yeah, you're protective of it.
yeah,
You're especially our entertainment. It's
yeah,
it's it's our escape, right? It's escapism. That's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be escapism. And
big
that's
time.
kind of, what led me to doing the channel. Now, the thing of it is in the Sunday nights, there are political topics I bring up, not all the time, but if it's
Yeah,
something that's just being talked about, I'll bring it up and talk about it. And I don't make any bones about which way I kind of lean on a lot of topics. That's somewhat gotten, not hot water, but it's gotten some people very upset with me.
yeah,
Someone made a video about one of my streams, and that's okay. It's like that's fine. And I know in the toy sphere especially, sometimes my comments on like punk streams, uh, and others, they're maybe counter to what most of the toy collectors are feeling at the moment about something. And then I know that I know what it does. Like I know, and sometimes Punk gets real riled up. Like he'll stop and he'll be like, "I'm not arguing with you right now," in the middle of a Monday night. You know what I mean? He's like, Matthew, yeah, yeah, whatever. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like it's just a joke. Um, but but yeah, so I know some of it can be a lightning rod. Now, there's one thing that I haven't done that I need to do a better job. Excuse me, a better job of, and that is actually trying to grow the channel. You cannot grow a channel unless you get extremely lucky just doing live streams. Like it doesn't work. You can't, you know. So that's one area, and I really feel bad, not for myself, because I just enjoy doing it. Talking in the camera and just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Matthew. And he would probably disagree with this. I'm sure he would. I feel bad for him. And the reason why I feel bad for him is because we both have a love of this pop culture thing. Like he obviously loves toys and everything. But he's really passionate about pop culture. And I am too. But I feel bad for him because I want to see his voice out there more than my own. Okay, and if I did a better job of cutting up shorts, right? I mean, even doing my own reviews. Like I am the laziest son of a bitch when it comes to, watching a show and then writing a script. I have a teleprompter. I've said it before. I have a teleprompter. Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. And I went out and bought a big tablet for it. And I'll write a script. And it's a good script. And I'll save like 70 freaking pictures from a movie or a trailer or a show. And I'll read my script and I'll take a few passes at it and I'll start saving pictures and I'll get along that timeline, man. And I'm editing that timeline and I get about 3/4 of the way through and it's like 5 days later and I'm like, nobody gives a shit about this topic anymore. And I'll scrap the whole thing. I did it. I go ahead. I'm sorry.
The problem is keeping up with the news cycle.
Okay. And that's where pop culture is. I envy people who can roll out of bed and do it all day. Yeah. Because when you work a full-time job, right, which most of us do, most people are out there doing it. If you and even if you have a channel, right, there's only so many hours. And if you're not man, as soon as I get in the door, I'm busting up that computer and I'm getting to editing. It's like, it might take me about 5 hours. And then it's 10 o'clock. And then it's 10 o'clock, and then I'm like, take a little shot, I can get around to it. Then I start watching some video I like from a YouTuber I like. Next thing you know, it's 1 a.m. And I'm like, well, I ain't getting shit done tonight. I guess I'll do it before I go to work tomorrow. I don't have to work till 4 tomorrow. I guess I'll do it tomorrow. And I'll wake up at like 11. And I haven't been sleeping good the last few months, so it's been a real struggle. Unfortunately, like, getting up literally right before work, even if I have to work in the afternoon, which is, your whole day's wasted, right? But you have to sleep sometime, right? You got to figure it out, even if in increments. But anyway, and so I that's the one thing I feel bad about not growing the channel. I've been stuck on like 180 subs for a long time, or 170, 180, somewhere there. And it's through my own lack. It's through my own, malfeasance that the channel hasn't grown. Because I think if I was making consistently like 2 to 3 videos a week on reviews and topics, I think you would get in the algorithm.
I think so,
and promote yourself more and through Instagram and shorts and stuff like that. And I could do a better job of that. But really, I feel bad for Matthew because I really do. He's really smart. He's concise and clear. And I love doing that with him. And I want to see his voice out there where someone wants him on their stream. Hey, a bigger YouTuber can say, hey, not maybe not every week, but hey, I want you to come. I mean, I'd love to do that. There's live streams I watch with big YouTubers, and I'm like, I could hold my own with these people. Like, I know I could. Yeah. But but really for Matthew and for what that's worth, it's being honest. I just love talking.
Dude, that's what
I'm a
happened.
bartender, bro. That's what
I
I do.
Yeah, that's what happened with me though. Like you bring up a great point, and it's a point that I've been saying now for a couple of weeks, where listen, we can live stream until we're blue in the face, but it's only going to get you so far. I said to a couple of people when they were like first growing their channel, I said, uh, uh, pre-recorded. I'm sorry, that's my cat.
You're good. You're good.
uh, pre-recorded.
Which one?
Pre- apparently, he's not back here. He's
Oh,
over there.
I thought maybe it's your wife.
No, he's passed out. That's why he's meowing so much. She's over there sleeping. Yeah. Um, but like I was going live, I was doing the pre-roll. People were getting, but that to me, I started to feel complacent, and I said to myself, like, this is only going to get you so much. This will get you watch hours if that's what you're looking
Yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah.
That's fine, but I want some growth. Now, when I got into this, I didn't get into this to be popular or a giant channel. I didn't get into this. I just got into
No.
this because, and I say this all the time, I make shit for me in the
Yeah.
hopes that you like it. If you like it, great. Then we can fuck with each other. But if not, keep it moving. I don't really. I'm still gonna make the same. I'm still gonna make the stuff. But I know that you have to evolve. So it
Right.
has to be both. It can't just be live streaming. If that's gonna be the identity of the channel, okay. But you can't be upset with lack of growth. You have to hit
Absolutely.
them. You have to hit them with the shorts. You have to hit them with pre-recorded content because people, if they're gonna start flocking to you, if they're gonna subscribe to you, then they clearly they want more content. They want to
Yes.
watch more. And if you're not giving them what they're craving, then eventually they'll just go to somebody else who is. So that's what like a lot of times, like especially recently, bro. Like I thought to myself like, and my wife, she yells at me all the time for this. Is like I said, I don't want people to think that I went from being a toy channel to now it's a simulated wrestling channel.
Okay.
Like everybody just thinks it's a video. Like that's just a small piece. And the reason I did it was I thought again, evolve or die. You can play this game by yourself and let people watch it.
Right.
No one's going to give a fuck. But if you include everybody and give them the opportunity to perform the way you would as an actual pro wrestler, and you have the mindset to book, you know how to commentate wrestling, you've done it for years, you know how to edit it, you know how to write and manipulate the game because I've played that game for years now. Like you can create something here that can include everybody and at least continue to grow the channel where I don't have to go live. I can just do a pre-recorded version.
Yeah.
I can now do like I said, I do everything when it comes to toys. I do stop motion, play motion, diorama building, kit bashing. So it's like there's always something different on my channel where you can't always turn around and go, oh, he's just this guy.
Right.
It's always something different because I keep the channel constantly. Like this, for instance, I did this show talking figures just so like if I see you now at Joe Fest, I can come up to you, shake your hand. We can have a conversation now. It's not weird. It's like
Oh,
we're not intimidated,
absolutely.
but it cascaded into this thing where people are like, "Yo, man, those talks are great because you bring out like the best. Like you ask great questions. You do." And I didn't mean for that to happen, but it's because I thought to myself, you can't just sit here and ask lame brain questions every single week, the same fucking ones, because it's going to get boring.
Yep.
So you got to mix it up. So that's why I always kind of do my research before I ask somebody to come on here. I ingest as much of their content as possible. I get to know them on a YouTube level, I call it, before I get to know you on a personal level. This way, when I ask you a question and you answer or you say something, you bring up a story from your channel, I'm not just shaking my head. I've actually probably seen it, and I
Yeah.
understand. So now I know where you're coming from. I can relate to you. The one thing I like, that's what I always tell people. Like you can do lives all you want, but if that's going to become the identity of your channel, be wary because eventually people get bored. You can only talk about one
Okay.
topic for so long before people go, all right, what else are you going to say about this that I haven't already heard?
Dude,
Like so.
no, you're so right. I like the, and that's something that I've even thought of too. It's like, okay, every Tuesday, go over the box office. We talk
Yeah,
about, a lot of what's coming up. We've become known for bashing Disney, which is easy to do these days. But
very.
but yeah, there's only so many times like, people are going to tune in and they're going to kind of hear that same cadence and that same
Yeah.
kind of thing about, and again, also too, like you just said a little while ago, the especially the pop culture cycle goes quickly. So if you're
Very
not on top of something, if something happens on Wednesday and we don't get to it until Tuesday,
yeah, it's
then
already
you've
too
got
late.
6 days right
Yeah.
in there that a show has already premiered, and then in the way the world works today, the way they put them out now, people don't talk about them for a week at work. They don't go to the water cooler and talk about the latest episode of
Yeah. Yeah.
Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones. It's like it happens quick. And the series, it
Yeah.
comes out all 8 episodes. People watch all 8 in one night, and they stop talking about it 2 weeks later or a week
Yeah.
later. And so just in that part of the pop culture stuff. But you're right. Like, I'll tell you this: the wrestling stuff is a genius idea. And I remember the first couple streams you were showing off. You were showing off the members. You were showing off the wrestlers, and you were doing their intros and bios.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, you're giving their special moves, right? Their finishers and stuff. And I'm like, this is genius. This is a like no one's doing this. No one.
What happened was is here's my thing. Um, yeah, a lot of times in this community, and one of my questions I was going to ask you was, what are the negatives from the toy community? And I'm assuming you'd probably say the same thing that I'm about to say, but I'll let you
I got a
answer.
few.
Is some a lot of the drama bullshit that goes on. There are a lot of people just always drama. So when I got the game, I was gonna play the game anyway. Like I said, I was gonna play it for members only, just me playing through like a career or whatever.
Right.
And this was right around the time some drama shit happened. And me and my wife are sitting here as I'm just creating myself on the game. Could you give me a second? And I said to my wife, I said, it'd be funny. And she said, what? I said, if I was able to get this toy community involved and we could squash beefs via a
Oh
virtual
gosh.
wrestling match. And then she laughed her ass off. And I said, and I said, the reason I make it for members only is because of the amount of work that is kind of
Oh yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Because now this is how dude, this is how crazy I am. Right? I do promos. So I ask you, send me a promo, 30 seconds to a minute. This is who you're fighting. This is who you're gonna work. This is your storyline, whatever. So give me something starting a beef with this guy or whatever. And they all send me. It's gotten to a point now where I don't even have to ask. They just send me.
That's
It's
awesome.
nice. Yeah. So, but now when I would do this thing where I would just make them do like taunts, and then I would try to match the words to the taunt, and it wasn't enough for me. I didn't like it. So I scoured the internet for a way to lip sync their lips to their promos,
Wow.
and I was able to find it. And I'm now you're talking now. Like I have your characters talk.
Yes.
So it's like now, like to me, it's just like this is as close as you'll get to being a real pro wrestler.
Right.
So have fun with it. Like the thing I said, it started with talking to my wife about it was, I will never promote any bullshit on my channel except for fun. You come there to have fun.
Yeah.
You come there to play pretend. We sit in a sandbox with our action figures. We sit in a creek with our action figures, and we have fucking fun. We don't come to complain here about this toy. We don't complain about this. We don't complain. We just know that bullshit sucks, but this won't. And that's what we come here to do. So like to see that this many people, and there's quite a few people that took to it. They love it. And like I said, I do the live streams on Sundays for everybody who just to show everybody what you could be a part of.
Yeah.
But the to me the best ones are the members only stuff, because that's when I incorporate actual storylines.
Right.
That's where I'm sitting here as the commentator filling in blanks, so that as you're watching it, you're like, oh, this guy has a beef. I see what he's doing, like that. Or I'll have backstage attacks. I'll have backstage promos.
Oh, somebody's watching me short is great because it's the two
Yeah,
cameras. I love that
yeah,
stuff. And I love when the
yeah.
wrestling games put the backstage stuff. I know it didn't go over great in some of the games, a few
If
years ago, but
if WWE was just to make a game like they have modes in this game and one is called universe mode, and if you were to make just a universe mode game where you were basically like Vince McMahon and you were booking and you were writing things,
okay, yeah.
I don't think they understand the money that would make, because a lot of people are like me. They want to just book. They want to make storylines. They want to run a wrestling promotion.
Right.
I don't want to just go on and play somebody. I don't really care about that shit. To me, it's about getting this going, getting creative. What
Right.
can I do? Who can I fight? Like, I incorporated legends and I recreated the Monday Night War. So there's some guys that are on WCW and there's the rest of us on WWF. And like, for instance, I'm feuding with Bret the Hitman Hart for the championship. I have this one guy feuding with Hollywood Hogan for the WCW title.
Awesome.
Like, it's crazy. Like, just like, for, like I said, just for a second, suspend your disbelief and pretend
Yeah.
that you're actually a pro wrestler and you're fighting Hogan.
Yeah.
And tell these guys, put a promo on Hogan right now and let me we will air it. Like, so it was a way to get people involved because I didn't want it to just be where it's my stuff and you're watching. I want us to feel like we're all playing, like we're all having fun.
It's also a way for you to grow, like, and like not do the same thing over and over, because let's be honest, it becomes like work. It gets old. It's like, you need things to spice it up. And this YouTube, journey or whatever, a lot of people call it. It's like, like yourself, I got into it to have fun with myself. You're right. Like, and just talk. That's what I do for a living. But you are correct, is that you will get to a point, everybody does, and you see channels evolve over time in what they cover or how they cover it, how they edit, hire an editor, stuff, whatever. And but it's easy to get bored, but I think it's such a great idea. And again, when I saw it, like that, the first stream, I think it was, I thought it was the first one. But I was just like, this is, because like I said, no one's doing this. And then on top of that, it's just kind of this brainstorming moment that you have, but it also allows you to flex your creative muscles, which which I knew that. I mean, even like the first couple of times I streamed or was on a stream with you, or, and watched you even just in the chat, it's like, I can tell, you can see creative people. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's like musicians I play with, I play with guys that, there's guitar players I played with no one has ever heard of, who are some of the most incredible guitar players I've ever seen in my life. Like, that would rival the Country Pickers and the Eddie Van Halens of the world. Like, just unbelievable guys that I played with through the years. And so, creativity when you see it, even if you yourself, anyone out there, right? If you're not a creative type person, right? You just like to watch stuff, you enjoy stuff, but you're not someone who, it's like, you still know it when you see it. You know a star when you see a star, or you know a personality when you see a personality. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, this thing clicks, right? So for me, I knew that. For you, that's what you did for me, because I'm like, this dude is on his game. Like, you just even those live streams where you're just sitting there just shooting the shit. And it's like, you're doing different voices, and I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like, this guy's talented. This is a talented dude right here.
I always wanted to be a voice actor. Ever since I was a kid, I was always doing voices and being silly and being a silly ass. It was always like big stand-up comedian, a big stand-up comedy household. We all watched a lot of specials. So, like, I was always into that kind of stuff. And then when I got into wrestling and I was training, and I asked my trainer, how can I get over? And he just handed me a microphone, and he said, you better get real good with that thing. And I was like, all right.
In other words,
he said, you're 5. He said, you're 5'8" and you're out of shape. I said, yeah. He said, here. And he handed the microphone. He goes, get really good on that thing, and I guarantee you'll get booked. And I said, okay. And that's how it went.
And guess what? He saw something in you that maybe you, at the time, that's not what you're wanting, or maybe that's not what you're seeing, but somebody, or something you maybe want, like the voice acting stuff, right? But like somebody says, and maybe being a bit of an asshole as well. But says you could do this pretty well if you really want to. Like, you could, if you put the time in, you could really kick ass.
That was the thing. He said to me, you're good in the ring. You're serviceable in the ring. You're very good. You get it done. You don't hurt nobody. You're you sell well, your punches. I really prided myself on striking and stuff like that because every independent wrestler has the worst punches because a lot of them don't know how to throw real punches.
I,
You know,
I
so
can
and I
I can
always,
only imagine
yeah,
the
so
risk.
I would always like train with boxing to learn how to throw a real because I always tell people when I'm training them is you should learn how to throw a real punch before you start throwing fake ones. Because if you don't know how to throw a real punch, when you throw a fake one, everybody's gonna know. Like everybody's gonna know
Yeah,
immediately
yeah.
that your striking sucks. So you got to get good at actually throwing a punch, and then you'll learn how to pull it and make sure you don't hurt nobody and things of that nature. So I always prided myself on that stuff because I come up in the era on the East Coast, Hogan, Savage,
Oh yeah.
WWF. So that's my like sports entertainment was what I was ingrained in. So when he handed me a microphone and said, "Get good on this," I looked at him and I go, "Okay, that's it." And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "I can do that." I said, "That's not hard." I said, "I'm talking about in ring. Is there anything I got to do to get like?" And he said, "No." He goes, "You're serviceable in the ring." He goes, "You get good on a microphone, you'll get your bookings." He goes, "Because you'll be able to sell matches." He goes, "That's really what it's all about.
Okay. I
Selling
get it.
matches
Yeah.
with your ability on the microphone. You
Right.
got to make people not like you or love you, depending on what side of the fence you stand on."
Okay.
And, and once he bestowed that knowledge on me, it was like that meme where the explode, the mind blown, and I'm like, oh, that's all it's got to be is Mike. Which is again, I wanted to be a voice actor. Stand up comedy was a big thing in my life, so I just incorporated all of it into a wrestling character. And I mean, I was wrestling very short because I got hurt very early. So within that time, I became synonymous with the microphone. So people would send me out sometimes without even a theme song. And they'd be like, "Yo, get heat."
Okay.
I'd be like, "Okay." And I'd walk out and I'd get the heat before the bell even rang. And now everybody wants to see my head get knocked off. So when the baby hits, that crowd blows up and they're like,
Right.
this is what
Right.
he signed up for. This guy knows he knows the memo. He got the memo.
Yeah.
He knows the mission statement. So like we'll book you again because you know what the fuck you're doing. And I don't have to overwork because I've already now gotten the heat. I've already started with the microphone. So when the bell rings, you can start fake punching now. We don't have to do all the rigmarole
Right.
bullshit that you do when you start wrestling because it's already there. I've
Yeah.
already built
Yep.
it in
Yep.
before you came out.
Which is what
So
people want to see.
exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Like, there's nothing like, as they used to say. And look, I mean, listen, I had every one of those rubber wrestlers and the ring. And me and my best friend Troy we used to write every name of every wrestler in little pieces of paper. We'd fold them up, put them in a hat, shake it around. We'd draw two names out of the hat. That would be the two people who were fighting. And then we would put those two names back in another hat and we draw the winner. And that's how we determine our matches. So we knew who was going to win, and we made our own matches in those LJN figures, I think, is LJNs. So we had them all. I mean, British Bulldogs, you name it, Junkyard Dog, Coco Beware, all of them, right? Andre, King Kong, Brutus the Barber was one of my favorite guys. Macho Man, obviously Hogan. That was that period when he, slammed Andre the Giant, right? Like that was the period of wrestling for me for about a good 4 or 5 years where I was all in on wrestling. And my sister went to the first WrestleMania. They put it on closed circuit television at one of the theaters here in Nashville. And I remember her coming back with the program, Tito Santana, I believe. And I think Hogan was on, and then the Hogan and Mr. T cover. That beautiful, looks like airbrush almost, that beautiful cover of the two of them standing in that, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's fucking beautiful. And so yeah, I was all in, and they used to say, and they still do, but the phrase was coming in like a house of fire, house on fire, right? Okay. House of fire, right, house of fire. So when you see two guys get in the ring and they just start going at it, yeah, baby, that's what people want to see. Now I agree with you though. I think like yourself, anytime I've watched modern wrestling, I think the most recent Cena match was like nothing but finishers. It was like one finisher after another one.
Oh my god!
And it was like, and I saw half of it, and I was like, this is fucking boring. And to me, it was. And now having not watched wrestling in quite a while, but I had some friends that were like, hey, you gotta check this out. So, but the story, right, and the build up though, and slow it down a little bit, right? Like you said earlier. It's interesting.
The guy that I'm training, Felix, I tell them all the time. I said, go slow, and when you think you went too slow, you still slow it down. I was like, because they're going 100 miles an hour, and I tell them all the time. I said, you're the heel, you slowed it down. You're
Yeah,
controlling.
yeah. You got to drop. Yep.
They gotta fight you,
Yes.
not the other way around. And he's just like, huh. I was like, the one thing that I learned was, you don't adapt your style to anybody. You guys will adapt your style to each other for the sake of the match.
Right.
So don't dumb things down. Just be you and be you at 100%. Don't fuck off because you're afraid that you can't hang with this guy because he has hops and he can jump out of a gym and he's fast as shit doesn't mean that you can't slow his ass down in the match
Right.
and then get the heat. And I used to do that to guys all the time. They thought they had to go 100 miles an hour, and I would slow it down to a snail's pace, and that crowd would be fired up. When he caught that house of fire, they were going bananas.
Right.
And all he had to do was a couple of drop kicks. He didn't have to go. He didn't have to dive. He didn't have to do all this. And he's like, dude, I didn't have to do anything. I was like, yeah, because it's all character based.
Right.
I've already got them eaten out of the palm of my hand. They hate me. So anything you do beyond this point is money because they want to see me get the shit kicked out of me.
Right.
So now, especially if I go on the offensive and I just start beating you down with a club, I pick you up and I club you down to the ground, and then I just walk around the ring for a minute. You are now fully rested.
Yes.
I made sure you got rested because I don't want to gas out at the end. That's what happens with these guys. They go 100 miles an hour. By the end, they're gassed. When I watch the WWE programming, I can't stand the fact that there's finishers every 3 minutes because you've taken away the power of the finish.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the thing that you waited for.
Yeah,
you waited for it.
Yeah, I can't stand it. It's like, and I remember this because it always used to make me laugh. But Al Snow used to equate it to climaxing sexually. He said,
Okay,
you build to the crescendo,
right?
So the end, the finish is the money shot, right? If you do 100 finishes, how exhausted is that guy after he's came 100 times?
Yeah,
you're done with it. You don't care no more about the money shot. It's over with. You build to the end. So when I see you kick out of 5, 6, 7 finishes,
right.
by the end, when you've hit that 8th finish, I'm like, is this gonna do it? Like it means nothing to me now.
Yep.
So it's just but again, it's like you have to tell yourself, well, this is the new wrestling. But I feel like nobody taught the correct way. Because when I was coming up, no one was teaching the slow to tell the story. They were just teaching fucking moves. Do moves, do moves, do moves, do moves. And if you watch wrestling now, that's all it is. How much more athletic can I be than you?
Well,
how much more?
And I wonder if just as an evolution, everything evolves, right? Like, whether that's football, baseball, hockey, right? Like, regular, like sports like that even, and just anything, it evolves. And I think that there's a romanticism that comes with like not only being a certain age and of a certain time, right? Like I know that to hear people older than me, like Gorgeous George.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that to them, that was like the peak of the, when Freddie Blassie was wrestling, you know what I mean? Like that was the peak to them, and so, everything evolves. And I wonder if it kind of got to a point with story and with keep slowing things down, is that the crowds and the way that the sport evolved is that's kind of just the natural evolution of where it went to.
Well, it's like you said, all sports evolved because what happened is the athlete evolved.
Yes.
They became more athletic.
Yes,
faster,
yes, 100%.
Higher. So everything is more athletic, everything across the board except basketball. Basketball is hard to watch because all they do is shoot 3 pointers.
I can't even. I'm with you.
I can't stand it. But everything has evolved.
Right.
Like everything now, it's just like everything's faster
Yes.
paced. And I'm fine with that. You want to speed up the game? I understand that. But you should not speed up the game to the point where it changes the integrity of the game.
And wrestling is in the entertainment spectrum.
Yes.
It's it is predetermined, right? They know, that's great. It's a show, right? You put on a great show, and when you put on a great show, fast and furious is not always the way.
No.
Now, sports like football and all that kind of stuff, right, where it's the outcome is not determined, and some would say maybe it is predetermined, depends on who you're a fan of. You're a Chiefs fan, you'd say no, not at all. But anyway, so but in that case, right, then that's, you do have two people who is faster, who is stronger, and is that going to win the day? But when entertainment, right, and it's a show, then the show needs to be written to tell a story, and each match tells a story.
Yeah.
And the heel always has to get the upper hand and let a guy rest, right?
Oh, yeah.
And walk around the ring and be a peacock for a minute, right? And show your ass. And that's part of the match.
Yeah, it goes into this where it's like, okay, my guy Felix, he went, I don't know where he went recently. I think it was Massachusetts to wrestle. He comes back and he tells me, he goes, man, I didn't do nothing. And that crowd was going bananas. And I said, the old ways work. The old ways in pro wrestling will always work. The problem is they're being ignored by the new people who want to just go 100 miles an hour. But if enough of you, and I was talking to Felix, I said, if enough of you start to bring back the old ways, it has a shot at it coming back, or at least
it's a culture.
Yeah,
it's a culture. You have to create that culture again.
Yeah, you have to show people that it still works, because it does. Right. The formula will always work. It's telling a story. That's what it's about. You have to keep that mindset. A lot of people don't keep that mindset, and that is why it is hard to watch now, because they're not telling stories. They're just doing moves, and it's like a video game. It's rough.
And as people would call it, they'd call us old heads.
Yeah.
As an old head, they're like, it's just that's the way they used to do it, man. But those guys weren't as much, they weren't as strong, they weren't as fat. You look at them, you could look at them in the ring, and they're big guys, and then they're not defined muscles, and it's like, but people still liked it, people still enjoyed it, and it's all how you craft it. It's all how you craft it, and that brings me to the pop culture thing, and about movies and TV. It's storytelling, and you know it when you see it, and if it ain't right, it ain't right. Dude. You see it in wrestling. I see it in movies and TV and other stuff like that.
Dude,
I get it.
I agree with a lot. Like I said, when it comes to a lot of your takes with the movies and stuff, I do agree, especially with the Disney take that you had, where it was hard to ingest a lot of this stuff because of what they were doing. And I agree wholeheartedly. But my issue was no one was saying anything. And then when you finally said, it's like, it's nice that someone's finally saying this shit out loud. Like, because, you stay quiet, but you're not blind. No one's blind.
Oh yeah, you stay quiet because you know there's repercussions.
Yeah,
if you don't,
you just keep your mouth shut. You're just one of these like you said. A lot of people say this bullshit. Well, this is the times now. This is the way it is, and I'm all for evolving. I'm all for change, but we don't have to overcorrect, which is what I felt it was. It was an extreme overcorrection with all this shit, and I felt like you didn't get the memo. You didn't understand what was supposed to happen. You just overcorrected, and I think they're all paying for it now.
Oh, you're 100% correct.
Yeah, and I think they're like, oh fuck, I think we overcorrected, and now we fucked up. Yeah, you fucked up royally because you had a great thing, and now it's all gone to shit slowly but surely because you had to have this narrative, this bullshit.
Yes.
Again, it goes to wrestling. People hated certain wrestlers because they were shoved down your throat. You didn't want the fucking guy. So these messages and shit that you're shoving down people's throats and then telling people, oh, if you don't like this message, there's something wrong with you. Well, that's a fucking problem because now you're shunning people where you're complaining about being shunned. Well, no, if it's all got to be inclusive or nobody. Like either you let everybody in or nobody should be allowed in. That's how I always believe. Like if you're going to include everybody, then do it the right way. Don't include people and then exclude people.
Okay. Yes, that is 100%. Yes,
that's my.
You're absolutely right. You can't preach inclusivity and then turn around and exclude others.
Exactly.
That makes no sense. You're doing the very thing that you say you're against doing.
Exactly. Now you're a hypocrite, and I can't take you.
Okay, right. And it's been interesting to watch. I feel like there was this kind of, I mean, I'm just being honest. Back in November, there was this collective sigh of relief from a lot of people who cover this stuff, who follow it, who really are invested in it, because I think people felt like there needed to be a correction. There was a major overcorrect, right? Overstep even. And I think most people that I've ever talked to are down the middle, regular, hardworking, everyday, normal people
Absolutely.
who really don't care about some of these hot button issues that got so hot button, but they were forced to because you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't watch anything, you couldn't enjoy escapism without it being shoved in your face and being told that you must 100% be on board with everything that's being put in your face.
Yeah.
Or you are a horrible, terrible person and you're what's wrong with this country.
Yeah.
And that was something that I think when in the last few months you have started to see this thing kind of start to kind of go back to normal, which is what most people are. Most people are. And I'm not talking about like anybody, I'm not saying anybody's abnormal, but what I mean is society regulates itself.
Yeah.
It corrects it. There's a general majority of how most people feel, and they are. And it doesn't mean those people are horrible people. It's just that's kind of what society does, right? And it and it doesn't mean that anyone is not included. It just means that like we said earlier, you can't include and then exclude.
That's my biggest thing is you're gonna tell everybody, oh no, this is gonna be a new day, everybody's included now, and then the media exclude us. Right. Like, wait a minute, you just lied to us. You lied right to my fucking face.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people stayed quiet for a long time. And then
being quiet, I think, is what it is.
Yeah, and then you start to kind of see people feel a little freer. You start to see YouTube relax some of its rules. You start to see Twitter or X now that regardless of who owns it, it's free speech in this country. That the bottom line is it's free speech in this country. You don't have to like it. You don't have to tune into it. It's a radio dial.
Just change channel.
Remember, if you didn't like a song that came on, you know what you did? You changed the channel.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's literally what it's all about. So yeah, it's I enjoy it. Would I like to reach more people? Of course I would. I mean, that's just more fun, right? To include more people.
Yeah.
In the discussion. And so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But until then, I love doing what I do.
Oh yeah.
It allows me to talk, and which, like I said, it's what I do for a living already. So it's easy.
Listen, it shows. Because like I said, it shows on your channel that you're able to, like a lot of times, dude, a lot of these live streams, sometimes it's like watching paint dry. There's dead air. They don't know how to entertain, and like I said, I don't blow smoke. When people come on this show, I don't blow smoke up people's asses. I thoroughly enjoy your entertainment because you entertain from the time the red light comes on until the red light goes off. There's no dead air. There's no, oh, come on, get to the point already. It's like you said about Matt Mattson. It's clear, it's concise, it's to the point. It's you understand it. Like I said, there's no boring parts where you're like, Jesus Christ, this is mind numbing, And I look forward to the future. So I feel like if you can if you get over the hump and start doing shorts and the pre-recorded stuff,
right?
I believe that there could be, you'd be surprised the growth that could probably jump, because the opinions will create discussions on the video. So whatever opinion you have, whether it's whatever it is, will create discussion, and then that will push you up in the algorithm, because now you're creating a topic, a forum for people to start talking about. The thing is, like you said, when it comes to pop culture, that news cycle is 8 hours. So you have about 8 hours after shit happens.
You're right.
A lot of times when people go see these movies or people watch whatever, they immediately run to their computer as soon as it ends and talk about it, because they know 2 or 3 days from now, everybody's waiting, like looking forward to the show for next week. They're not even thinking about what you're talking about last week. So it's like,
it goes by really quickly, and it's even faster than it used to be because of now with just the way everything
The
is
way everything is now.
streaming and it's the way it's
Yeah,
all released and all
yeah,
that stuff. So yeah, you're right, man. I mean, look, I appreciate the kind words for sure, though.
yeah.
I mean, much appreciated,
Great.
and likewise to you.
I
It's you're
appreciate that very much.
fascinating to
Yeah,
me. I
yeah,
absolutely love you, dude.
yeah. Thank you, man. I very much appreciate that. But I appreciate you for coming on here today and hanging out with me and talking to me. Like I said, I was always watching you and Three Star from afar for the last year plus year and a half, like when he started the Backyard Battlefield, when he was on the Punk with Toys hangouts, because that's how I
Yeah.
found you guys. I found you guys through Punk with Toys,
Yep.
and I've always remained a fan of you two and Krusty O'Crow. Always remained a fan. I watch Krusty O'Crow's videos till this very day. I love his tactical perspective videos. I think they're top notch.
Yeah, he's
And
great.
yeah, and like I said, I think Three Star Draw. I watch his reviews. I guess I could read. I could listen to that guy read a grocery list. I love his voice. It's smooth as silk, you know. Um,
It's
but
awesome.
listen, guys, you can catch PopBlender over at his channel at PopBlender. Like I said, every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard, 9 p.m. Central Standard. He does the evening blend with Matt Mattson. Like I said, they talk pop culture. They break down movie reviews and everything that's going on in the pop culture spectrum. And then, of course, on Sunday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, he hits you with PopBlender Unfiltered, which is, like he said, it could be topics all over, political, movies, whatever it is. So please head on over to PopBlender. The link will be in the description below, and sign up, subscribe to him. Let's get him some growth here, because, like I said, even if you disagree with the takes, it's good to always have different opinions, because that's how discussions grow. That's how you learn. You learn from other people
Yep.
by disagreeing
Absolutely.
with them. So PopBlender, buddy, thank you so much
Appreciate it, brother.
for coming on this show. I greatly appreciate you.
Thank you.
And until next time, guys, do me a favor, take it easy.